Welcome back to Essential Dialogues. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. Today we're heading to Ethiopia.
Oh, interesting. What's going on there?
Well, we're going to be looking at Wegagen Bank. You heard of them?
I can't say I have, no.
Okay. Well, they just made history by becoming the very first company to be listed on the brand new Ethiopian Securities Exchange.
The ESX, right. I think I read something about that. Ethiopia opening up their markets, becoming more attractive to foreign investment.
Exactly. It's kind of a big deal. We've got a bunch of great sources to dig into. News articles, financial analyses. We even found some firsthand accounts from people on the ground in Addis Ababa. It's going to be fascinating.
You said it's a big deal. Any way to put it in, simple terms? For our listeners who might not be finance experts.
Just think of it like the gold rush, but for capital.
Okay, that makes sense. So Wegagen Bank is the first one to stake their claim.
Yeah, pretty much. And we're going to explore exactly what this means. What does it mean for Wegagen? What does it mean for their shareholders? And what does it mean for the Ethiopian economy as a whole?
Big questions.
Absolutely. So let's set the scene. It's January 10th, 2025. We're at the Science Museum in Addis Ababa. And get this, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed himself is there to witness the official launch of the ESX.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and right there, taking center stage, is Wegagen Bank, the very first company to be listed.
Talk about a power move. But this couldn't have just happened overnight, right?
You're right, this was no accident. Our sources show that Wegagen has been planning this for a while. They've been carefully aligning their strategies with Ethiopia's recent push to, modernize their whole financial sector. Yeah, like they've been launching all these new projects, consulting with international experts. They even started training programs for their staff, like everyone, from the board members all the way down to the employees. It seems like they're really committed to not just participating in Ethiopia's capital market, but actually shaping its future.
Yeah, I see what you mean. This is not just about hopping on a trend. This is about leadership. But for our listeners who might not be super familiar with all this financial jargon, can we just break down what this listing actually means? Like, what's changed for Wegagen Bank now that they're on the ESX?
Yeah, for sure. So it all boils down to access to capital. And there are a few key ways this listing really changes things for them. For starters, Wegagen can now issue stocks.
Stocks, okay.
Yeah, think of it like dividing ownership of the bank into these teeny tiny pieces that people can buy and sell on the ESX. This is what they call equity financing. And it's a super powerful way to raise funds. Before, they probably had to rely more on those traditional loans, which, can have a lot more restrictions.
Makes sense. More flexibility, more options for growth.
That's it. But what about the people holding those pieces of the bank,
Yeah.
the shareholders? What's in it for them?
Good question. Well, for one thing, they can now trade their shares on the ESX in a transparent and regulated environment. So if the value of their shares goes up, they have the potential to profit from that. But there's this other really important concept here, price discovery.
Price discovery.
Yeah. Basically, the ESX acts like a big marketplace where buyers and sellers determine what the fair value of Wegagen Bank's shares actually is.
I see.
And this transparency, it's super crucial, especially for attracting domestic and international investors, right?
Yeah.
Because it gives them the confidence that the market is operating fairly.
Right. So Wegagen benefits, shareholders benefit. You mentioned earlier this was a big deal for the Ethiopian economy. What did you mean by that?
Well, just think about it. Having a functioning securities exchange, that's a pretty clear sign of a maturing financial market. And that sends a signal to the entire world. Ethiopia is open for business, so you get more foreign investment, investor confidence gets a boost, and this can have some serious ripple effects across the entire economy. It could lead to more jobs, it could stimulate growth in other sectors, and ultimately it could improve the lives of everyday Ethiopians.
It's amazing how we can connect the dots from a single event like this listing to the bigger picture, the potential impact on a whole country.
It is, and Wegagen Bank is like a case study in how a company can really position itself at the forefront of a really booming market.
Exactly. And this makes me think, what other industries in Ethiopia might be ready for this kind of innovation?
That's the real question. Could this be the start of a wave of Ethiopian companies going public, following Wegagen's lead? It's something to think about, for sure.
Definitely. Something for our listeners to ponder. It seems like Wegagen Bank's story is just the beginning. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Essential Dialogues podcast for more deep dives into fascinating topics like this. We'll see you next time.
Until then.